Considerations for selecting a development approach. Here is a quick recap on the three development approaches: predictive, adaptive, and hybrid. When you are deciding as a team which one to use to manage the project for your product, service, or result, there are several factors that you should consider. Factors like the degree of innovation. This is when the scope and requirements are well understood and the project team has worked on before. If the product, service, or result is relatively known, then you would use a predictive approach. If it's complex or the team has never worked on that type of solution, then an adaptive approach is appropriate. Another one is requirement certainty. When the requirements are well known and easy to define, then predictive approach is the one to use. If the requirements are uncertain, volatile, or complex, then adaptive approach is the better fit. If the scope is stable and not likely to change, predictive approach is useful. If it's expected to have many changes, then the adaptive side is better. You can see the trend, right? If it's a stable project and we know what to expect, then use predictive. If you are working on a project that you have no idea on how to even start, then it's an adaptive approach. Other variables are ease of change, whether or not change is easy to implement on a project. Delivery options. If the project needs to be delivered incrementally or in pieces or phases, then it's adaptive. Larger projects more lively use a predictive approach because everything needs to be delivered at once. Risks. If the risk is low, then most likely you will use predictive. If you need to build the project in phases to assess different risks, you guessed it, it's adaptive. Safety requirements. This one is a bit tricky. For the most part, anything that needs safety will be done using a predictive approach. Think about it. You won't build an air tank in phases. You can't release the shell of the air tank and have people use it and say, "We'll deliver the air that goes into the tank in 2 weeks." The whole unit, including the air, needs to be done all at once, hence using a predictive approach, not adaptive. And the same goes for regulations. If you have significant regulatory oversight, you may need to use the predictive approach due to the required process, documentation, and demonstration needs. You should take into consideration the type of product, service, and result that you are trying to solve and match it appropriately with the development approach. That will help you and your project team manage the life cycle of the project.